specifically.
Oh my god,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I was obsessed with them. Oh my god, Jung
It's
and
on my
Nine.
honorable mentions.
Jung and
And
Nine.
9. Hey guys, welcome to Lovecast the BL podcast. I'm your host Heather, and with us today is all of our other hosts, the whole Lovecast team, Pixie, Kayla, and Alexa.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Yay! So today on the show, we are doing a list episode. We haven't done a list episode in quite a long time, and we thought it was about time to whip out our old favorite list episodes. And today we're actually covering something that I think all of us have experienced more than once in our BL watching career, and that is second couple syndrome.
Mm.
Yeah. So does anyone want to, for anyone who doesn't actually know what second couple syndrome is, does anyone want to kind of give a really succinct example or like explanation of what second couple syndrome can be and what it can kind of be? Because there's like a very definite like second couple syndrome definition, and then there's like, but I enjoyed the second couple quite a lot type of vibes that we get in BL.
Yeah, so like second couple syndrome, like if you're actually fully in it, is like when you fully prefer the storyline that the second couple is bringing in the drama over the main pairing in the main storyline. And they call it syndrome because often it's something that afflicts people more than once, like Heather mentioned. So like a lot of people will say like second couple syndrome if you're routinely someone who prefers like tends to prefer the secondary pairing over the main pairing and is more interested in them, more compelled, more drawn to their story than that of the pairing that the show is primarily focused on.
Yeah, an example of someone that is very, very drastically in like has this syndrome is if they go to YouTube and just watch the cut from that couple instead of the whole entire series.
I do have
That
an
does
example of like
happen.
that in my list.
Guilty.
I do have an example of one of those in my list. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think there's shows where, like, you can like all of the pairings, like, you know, like them equally or just enjoy every pairing involved. But, like, second couple syndrome is when you very explicitly prefer whatever the second couple has going on over the main couple. And you would much prefer to see them getting the screen time oftentimes over whatever the main pairing might be.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I can say like for me personally, what I like the moments that I consider having like an obsession with the second couple is usually because the story of the main couple has sort of like it's tied up, it's okay, it's over, they're together, and then you have the mystery of the second couple, and that's the thing they end on. So you're kind of sitting at the end of it with more recollection and more feelings toward the second couple than the first, because that story was done from 6 episodes ago, right? So that's usually where I end up. Like, that's why I end up thinking more about the second couple than the first. So it's not as drastic as the syndrome.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with like timing, because a lot of the times the second couple does not get as much screen time in the show. So the moments that they do get, like you're like, oh, they're on, I gotta pay attention, and you just find yourself wanting more. And because you're only getting like a certain amount each episode, I feel like it just kind of leads you to keep wanting more and more and more of them because, you know, they're the second couple and they don't get that much screen time. But funnily enough, like I was the one who suggested this topic, and I literally could count on one hand the amount of times I've had genuine second couple syndrome. So I was just
Same,
like,
I
I think
think.
my brain just like there's something in my brain that's like, okay, this is the main couple, you like them more, like, you know, don't put yourself through the pain of like getting attached to the couple that you're not going to see that often. But I do have a couple of pretty significant examples, but
I genuinely have 2 that I know that like I just like those.
only liked, yeah.
Yeah.
It was I've got so of course I like separated mine and classified mine.
Of
You
course.
know the drill. and and my honorable I've got 3 honorable mentions and 5 second couple syndrome-esque. Well, actually 4 of them are 100% second couple syndrome. I definitely liked them over the mains, and then 1 is like I really liked them. They're like same level as the mains, and I kind of view them as like a main, even though they are technically second couple who then became a main. But yeah, I find that when I was kind of figuring out like who I wanted in this list and everything, I realized that like kind of like how Pixie was saying that you get attached to the couple who gets so both Pixie and Alex are actually the couple who gets like the least amount of screen time. And there's just something you want to see there. You want to see them get together, and that is like the end of the series. They get together at the end of the series.
You don't get more.
Exactly. And so I found that my honorable mentions were like 2 not technically BLs, but they're what people are considering a BL couple, and then 1 goes on to literally be a BL couple in a series, and then 1 is basically a GL couple that everyone was screaming about getting together. But I put them in my honorable mentions because they're not the BL couples, or they're not part of a BL. And then I've set my list. My list of 5, which wasn't as hard to put together as I thought. So I'm like, do I have second couple syndrome? I didn't think I was like actually legit. I always enjoy the second couple better because I'm a little bit like Alexa, where like I'll go into a series going, all right, these are the mains. I know I'm going to be like, I've got to be invested in the mains, and usually I am, and it's not just like because I have to be invested, but it's those little moments, those shows where that second couple shines, and they shine just that little bit brighter / a lot brighter than the mains, and I'm like, okay, I see a pattern.
Yeah.
I see a pattern.
You're like, oh, something is connecting here.
Yeah, I was telling Kayla before you guys joined that like I was going through my list on MDL of the shows I watched, and I'm just surprised at how many that can actually go on this second couple syndrome list.
I stopped at 5 because I was like Pixie. I was starting to go through it and being like, oh, 10's a bit too much. Oh yeah, there's a little Harry butt. Yeah.
I was like, do I have 5? I have like 4.5. Like, and some of them are like
to
reaches.
10 too, honestly.
But
I might have to speed run through some people's lists.
Yeah. But yeah, how many does everyone have? And we'll kind of gauge.
Dude,
if we do this
I
as
have
a
so
round
many. I just have
robin
to like. I
have 5.
5. We'll stick to 5.
We'll stick to 5, and if we have time, we can discuss quickly.
Everything else goes in honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 5 and like one that I would consider probably an honorable mention. Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to start? I'm
I
happy
can
to
start.
start, or Pixie can start.
I can start. Yes.
Pixie start.
Okay.
All right.
So this one, I think, like, actually, I'm gonna be surprised if not everyone has this on their list because, dude, my engineer, Ramking.
Oh,
Is your
it
I
wasn't on
did
my
you
list
forget?
because I forgot about that.
Third.
Me when I forgot about Ram King. No one talked.
It's
no
my
one look at
third.
me.
I am telling Perth.
This is what I'm saying. I had to look up a list of every single BL because I
Listen.
forget every show ever.
In my head, they were the main couple, so that's
Yeah,
why I
that's
just
true.
didn't
What I'm
I
thinking
just-
too. I
Yeah.
like, genuinely think like Ram King had the best storyline, and I think like a lot of the other couples were problematic at best and unfinished as well. But Ram King sort of felt like they at least got some sort of closure, and they were also like, weren't they like the last episode was sort of like them getting
It was
together.
very much
Yeah.
about like their resolution in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
cliffhanger that was setting up for their second season, which,
It's never coming. Rip.
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah.
Perth's in Japan now. Like we
Never
missed
coming.
the
Never
window.
happening.
Yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
Ram King was iconic, and I think like a lot of people think that. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
can agree on this one.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're my number 3, because they basically became the mains for me.
Mm.
Like they
100%.
Yeah, they like when I think of my engineer, I literally think Ram King.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I
everyone
can
else who was a
barely
part of that
remember
series.
any of the other plots
But I
or
do.
even that like the characters. I can barely
Yeah.
remember what happened in that show.
Nothing.
Yeah, I just and I remember like every single week that an episode was released, I was so tuned in, hoping to see more Ram King every single episode.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah. And so I think that because I had that feeling, that's raised Ram King a little bit higher in my list for me. So I'm very interested because I know how much you love Ram King as well, Pixie. I'm very interested. Who's higher in your list when we get around?
I could think of some people that
Okay,
at least
fair.
one. I can think of at least one. That's probably
Yeah, true. True. I
We'll
feel
see.
like there's going to be a lot of overlap with me and Pixie,
Yeah.
actually.
Probably.
But yeah.
Yep.
Kayla, what was your number 5?
I actually didn't put them in any particular order, so I'll just say one of them.
Fair.
First off, though, I have to say that I don't really ever fall for the second couple. Like, I'll appreciate that they're there, but I'm very tuned into the main couple, and I've noticed that whenever I do get into the secondary couple, it's usually because I'm obsessed with one half of them. So, like, I like one of the characters in the couple. I've noticed putting together this list that seems to be how it goes for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that being said, the first secondary couple that I thought of were Sky and Zhao from Secret Crush on You. I loved them so much. I loved them more than any other couple in the show. I love them more than any other characters in the show. For me, and probably only me, they carried the series. I love like how simple and sweet their relationship was, and I thought it was a really good contrast to the main couple who were very horny and unhinged, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought the contrast between them was really good, and I also feel like they were so likable to a lot of people, including me, because the writers didn't like try to do the most with them, if that makes sense. Like, they didn't try to complicate their story. They just relied on the simplicity of it. And I think that sometimes with secondary couples, you can just do that. You can just rely on that.
Yeah.
After that. Oh, also, the thing about Sky and Zhao that I really love is I like how like careful and nurturing Sky is with Zhao, and like how he doesn't try to like use logic or problem solving to help him with his issues. He just kind of like stands by him and understands him, and out of like that pairing, Zhao is the one that I was like, he's my favorite character. So I just love their dynamic, and I think it's really sweet, and there isn't much else for me to say about it. I honestly did prefer them over all the other couples. No offense to them. They had their own thing going on, but there was just something about like I don't know what the word is, like how genuine the progression of their relationship felt, I guess. Like it just made sense for them to end up together. And I don't think it happened like too quickly or too slowly or anything like that. I just think it was like perfect. And they didn't do too much with them that made it overcomplicated. That's the gist of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were definitely a highlight in Secret Crush. I feel I feel for them as much as I feel for the mains because I loved the unhinged and the sweet like kind of
Hmm.
equally. Um and I they were actually technically if we'd expanded lists, they would have been in there. But only
Expand.
but only because I I was like wanting more of them. They had a lot actually in terms of like um their relationship development within the series
Mm.
as a second couple. They actually had a decent amount within the story, but they didn't have enough. I wanted more, and that's why I'm like, I feel like they kind of fall in second couple syndrome ish with me because I just wanted
Mhm.
more of their story. Like, if they
Yeah, me
could
too.
get their own little, like, special episode where it's just them, oh,
No, exactly. They just need to
wouldn't that be
bring Hang and
amazing?
Surprise back together for a series, I
Instead,
think,
Yes.
because they were
instead,
really good.
They were
Hang is
really
just
good.
third wheeling all the GL ships in
He's just
Idol
the villain in every
Factory,
show.
trying to
Yeah.
come between every sapphic couple in Idol Factory shows. It's
And
always
like
Hang.
It's
Surprise
so
has
funny.
like taken himself to the gym for the past like
Oh, he's
year
buff
and
now.
is like buff. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
kind of want to see that dynamic. Like,
yeah.
I kind of want to see
Mm.
Surprise as a character that pursues Heng's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Slash, I
I
will say,
had
like, I'd
this
like to see like Sky and Zhao together again, like as those
yeah.
characters.
Mm. I had this joke that that Surprise needs to get off the basketball court and get in front of the camera.
You're not wrong.
Ah.
Oh, send out the search party. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a good second couple. I think a lot of people
I love
actually
them.
of of the people who enjoyed Secret Crush because it is a I wouldn't say it's a niche show, but it's definitely one that you need to love camp to enjoy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think of the people who enjoyed it, it's kind I feel like it's very split and it's very 50-50 on main and second on who people
Mm,
love. With obviously like Daisy's just a given.
yeah.
Oh,
Just a
Yeah.
given. But
yeah.
yeah, I think it's like I would say it's a 50-50 split, at least from what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alexa, do you want to go? We'll go like a circle
Yeah, sure.
as
So
like
speaking
opposed
of
to a different type of circle.
circle, as opposed to the
A
other type of
circle.
circle. Um, Speaking of niche, this is one that I don't think anyone has on their list because I don't think anyone else made it through all 17 episodes of this show. But I put Payu and Rain from Oh My Sunshine Night.
Okay. Wait, was there
I
17
watched
episodes
it.
of that
I
There
show?
watched
was
all of it,
17 episodes of that show. Yes.
and I
Dude,
paid
I
to
didn't get
watch
through
it.
it.
Yes.
I did
They
not get through it.
they kept adding episodes in the end. Like it went from like 12 to like 15 to 17, and I'm not gonna lie, like
Jesus.
Payu and Rain's story got a little unhinged for me once Rain got in a helicopter accident. It was like
Oh my
this
god.
show was, when you talk about unhinged, this show was unhinged. Like
It was kind of
he,
morbid, honestly.
yeah, he like got in a helicopter accident and basically like was faking his death. So poor Payu was like it was intense. There was a lot going on
Okay.
there. So
Okay.
it got a little bit like it fell off a little bit for me like in the last half. The show in general, like as much as I love Fluke, I just didn't think their characters had much going on there. And
Mm-mm.
Payu and Rain, who of course were played by Pan and No, had this like very like the dynamic of Payu being the servant's butler's son and Rain being like the young master of the house and the will they won't they, and the Payu being like, oh, I can't because like our differences, like we're such a different socioeconomic status, like my father works for your family, like I basically owe my life to you guys, like that kind of dynamic and like the yearning that comes with it always gets me. So especially in like the
Mm.
first, I would say like 10-ish episodes like leading up to it, to like when they finally like gave in and they had sex on the beach. There was like the tension that was happening between them and like the build up to it was just giving so much more than any other pairing in the show. Like, of course, like I remember Omen Fluke's characters, but I couldn't tell you any of the other couples that were in that show. Like,
Were there other ones?
yes, I think so. There was like a third, maybe even a fourth couple in that show. So there was a lot going on, but like their story at this point is the only one I can recall any details from. Like I can't even recall details from Omen
The
Fluke's
main.
storyline as much as I
Yeah.
love them.
I
Like,
remember apples.
yeah, apples. He passed out and he had to eat apples to like come back because like something in apples like helped his illness that he had. But other than that, Heather's
And
like,
Owen being like this sad boy playing in a ice room.
oh, his plant room. Yeah, he had like a plant room. Listen, Heather, I can see the confusion on your face because you don't know what's going on. When I tell you this show was unhinged
Dude,
and out
the
of
apple
context,
thing is like
was.
the first 5 minutes of the show.
out of
Okay.
context, like nothing makes sense, and even within the show, a lot of it didn't really
It
make
didn't.
sense.
Didn't make
But
sense.
Nothing.
Payu and Rain's storyline and the tension that
It's
they
worth it.
had hit.
Okay.
So I had to put them on there because I was like, they're the only ones that I can remember anything about from the show, and it's our boy Pan, it's our boy No, so like
Yeah, I tried watching it for them, but for me, like plot has so much to like. It's I can't watch a show that has a bad plot. Like I just can't. It's torture.
I can do it for my faves, and this is an instance where I did in fact do it
Right.
for my faves.
I tried. Okay.
Put in a valiant effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my number 5. Talk about niche. If anyone else watched that show, sound off in the comments. Maybe one other person that finished it in its entirety.
Oh god, that's funny. Okay. So I realized looking at my list now, before I said that there was one, the way that I ranked it, there was one couple that was like on the same level as my love for their mains. Technically there's two, because I kind of realized that, so my fifth couple is Win Team, specifically from Until We Meet Again. And I realized that I actually liked them and Main's Dean Palm the same, but I didn't get enough of Win Team during Until We Meet Again.
Mm-hmm.
And so like in terms of like my rankings, I forgot about them in terms of how much like my love of the couples, but whatever. I put Win Team at this position because they ended up getting like their own full-on series. So I was like, okay, I got some of my love back. Their mains in their own series. That's okay. Like that's scratched that itch that I needed scratched type of thing. But when I think back to Until We Meet Again, I was so obsessed with them as a couple. And I think it was mainly because we didn't get enough of them. So much of their story in Until We Meet Again actually happened off screen. And I was like, just turn the camera around. Just give us that like romance off screen, on screen. Like, just give us
Feats.
something. A little bit more. Sorry.
No, no, no,
What?
no, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Give
no.
us feet.
Oh.
That's like
Like,
seeing
what?
our reaction to the
I
episode.
thought you said beats. As in like beats.
I heard Pete.
Broccoli.
I heard Pete. I was like, who the
Dude.
fuck is Pete?
I was like,
Dude.
not beets, broccoli.
Remember when we were watching the
Yeah.
Between Us episodes in the hotel room? The
The
feet.
feet were triggering. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so yeah, Win Team were my number 5. Also because apparently, again, going back to the fact that I seem to have second couple syndrome, there were like 4 couples that were so like strongly above them that I was surprised at myself. Like I was so surprised that Win
Mm.
Team didn't go higher.
Mm.
But yeah, they're
Yeah,
my
I
number
have
five. I
words,
don't have
but
anything else
later.
to say. Pardon?
I have words about Win Team, but later.
Yeah, I was like that. I know that was
Yeah,
when I
fair.
was like, I know at least one that's gonna be on Pixie's list. I know that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's
them
too
at some
early to
point.
start talking.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, Win Team's my number five.
Mhm.
Yeah, valid point.
Okay. So my number 4 is Kiseki Dare to Me.
Mm.
Oh.
Because
Timely.
God, I can't even remember their names, but that's beyond the
Chen
point.
Yi and AD. Yes. AD.
Yes.
AD.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, AD. Yeah. No, they're just the plot of their whole story speaks to me. Like I love that kind of trope.
Mm.
And while there were like some annoying parts where they were like going back and forth and yeah, I just there was something that really spoke to me, and it was what was making me watch the show, because the main couple to me I had some issues with. While they were kind of cute at times, it's cute isn't me. So they were the whole reason I was watching. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. I enjoyed them on the same level as the mains, but they did definitely have a little bit more of an interesting dynamic
Mm.
because of the fact that they had grown up together, they knew each other, and there was like the secret crush element. And like,
Yep.
I'm down bad for a secret crush. Like, that is my top trait,
Mm.
trope. And so I totally get like, yeah, I totally get kind of like the vibe of them being your faves. And they were also
Yeah.
apparently, from what I saw of people watching Kaseki, they were like a fan
I think they were
fave. Like
pretty
people
solidly
can
like a
loved
fan
them.
favorite.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
people absolutely loved them. And they were very interesting characters.
Yeah.
They were very
I
interesting
just love
characters.
like you have this one like really spicy character and then really cold character. They're so opposites, but they work so well
Sunshine
together.
Protector.
The small
Oh,
one
I love
who's
it,
always
Sunshine.
ready to
Mhm.
throw hands. And then the tall, quiet, kind of stoic one. Yeah.
Strong.
Who like
Yeah.
reins them in sometimes and like
Mhm.
puts out the fires that the spicy little
But they
one
kind of
set.
they fulfill each other. Like they
Yeah.
are missing whatever the other person has. So together they're like perfect.
Mm.
Yeah,
Cute.
that was
Yeah.
one that I kind of had as an honorable mention because it was very timely since we had just recently done our review about it. But yeah, I really like the secret crush element, the kind of in a way, like I would say it falls kind of into the friends to lovers, but it's like a different level of just like friend, just like, you know, your basic level of friends. There's a lot more going on there. But that kind of relationship navigation always really speaks to me.
Okay, again, no particular order, and I have to look at my notes for this one so I don't get the names mixed up. But I put Tudor and Yim as a whole
Mm.
because they're in multiple shows as
Yeah.
the
The
side
secondary
couple.
pairing. Yeah.
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 So I have this is them as Sin and Noir and Cutie Pie and Naughty Babe, but also them as Mai and Jade and Bedfriend, and then of course they had their own show, Middleman's Love.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know Middleman's Love is their own series, but I feel like it's another one of those examples like Win Team and Between Us where the second couple actually gets their own show, and maybe the show isn't as good as I hope it would be, but I still like it because it's them.
Yeah.
But yeah. And honestly, I feel like their characters in both of those universes are very similar. Like Noir and Mai are both like the silent, supportive types, and then Sin and Jade are kind of like they're very anxious. They're always worrying themselves to death about something. They're a little unhinged, and that's just like one of my favorite relationship dynamics. I think is when one of them is like the golden retriever boyfriend. And
Yeah.
then I don't know what you would consider Win's character, not Win, Yim's characters an archetype of, in contrast to that, but Tudor's definitely the golden retriever type boyfriend in like every show that he's in.
Mm.
Um, oh, I don't want to read that part because it gives away another one of the ones I put on my list. What else do I have to say about them? Yeah, this is one of the ones where, unlike Secret Crush on You, it wasn't that I liked them more than the main couple. Like, I don't think that would be possible for me. But it's one where I don't think the stories would have been the same without them. And I feel like their characters and their relationship, even though they didn't have as much screen time, really contributed to like the overall vibe of the story, especially in Bedfriend. Like, I just can't imagine that show without like them as well. It's mostly just Jade because Mai comes in at the very end, but I just can't imagine them like not being there as the kind of like supportive to the main couple, secondary couple, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I just like Tudor and Yim as the second couple and everything they've done. And then even in Middleman's Love. Even in Middleman's Love.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about Sin in Noir, but I loved them so much in Cutie
Me
Pie.
too.
Like they
Yeah, I
were
agree.
like a low-key fave of mine in Cutie Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're so good. Mm-hmm.
Same. I don't have anything to add.
Nothing to add. No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
10-10.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like my next one I have is kind of similar to what Kayla and also Heather, you said this before. I don't like them more than the main pairing, but I put them on the list because I felt like their story was not really done justice, and that made me want more for them. And that was Jab and Jane from Step by Step, because yeah. So
Yes.
Yeah.
talking like looking at my list made me realize that I for some reason in my second pairings I really go for the like forbidden element, will they won't they kind of thing going on, which may be a little kind of spoilerly to some of the other stuff I have on my list. But yeah, so they did very much have that element because Jane was in a relationship and there was some relationship infidelity that did in fact happen because of Jab. But I just, it's like so like I don't know the I don't know what word I'm looking for at all. I guess like the forbiddenness of it all like really drew me into their story, and I found myself like really, despite knowing that like, oh, they shouldn't be like leaning into each other like this when they are, and even Job was aware of that, and that like that was part of his character storyline, was like trying not to give in to the feelings he was having for someone who was actively in a relationship. But like when they did kiss, I was like, oh God, I'm enjoying this and I shouldn't be, because like if you know. But I put them on here because like we kind of talked about this when Kayla and I talked about Step by Step in our top BLs last year. Like their storyline became non-existent after Jang and Pat got together, like for the final 3 episodes. Like there was so much going on with Jang and Pat that like Jab and Jane got no resolution at all. Like, you know, after they had their kiss and kind of faced the consequences of that, Jab made the decision to like step away because he was not happy with the decision that he made. And then like after that, it kind of was like nothing, you know? Like, so I don't know how it would have been resolved, but I put them on there because like they didn't get any real resolution, not even like an open one or what you consider like a sad one. Like they just kind of disappeared. And like
Forgot
that
about
was
them. Yeah.
yeah, like one of my quips that I had with Step by Step, despite being one of the people who were ride or die for it, was that they did Job and Jane dirty at the end of the story. So I put them on
It
there.
was
Yeah.
very jarring to not like have some kind of ending for them. I remember being really annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I felt
was-
like, go ahead, Heather.
I was just gonna say it was yeah, their I wouldn't even consider it a resolution. Like their
Mm-mm.
story
No,
just
there wasn't. It was
stopped.
just
Stopped.
ended. Yeah, it
It
just
just
stopped.
stopped.
It just disappeared.
And like it didn't there was no satisfactory ending. There was nothing
No.
that
Might have
like
been an
even the little thing
unsatisfactory
that they
ending.
yeah,
No.
like even the little they gave us like what a little thing a little someone went overseas like to study or something or I can't
Mm.
remember. So like they gave us that and that was it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like, oh, when I come back,
Mm.
maybe we can pick this up and explore what happened. Like, but that wasn't. It didn't feel like an extension of their story. It didn't
Mm-mm. It was very
feel
disjointed.
Mm.
satisfactory. It literally just felt, oh shit, we've got to put
You gotta
something at
throw
the
it
end
in.
of this
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
people are going to be mad that we haven't developed this any further. Like we've just kind of
Mhm.
given up on their story. They were
Yeah.
really interesting, and now we're just like, nah, too hard.
I don't get
Yeah.
Chuck this
why.
on, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, what?
I feel
Like,
like they
yeah.
put a lot into them, like in the first half to like
Yes.
3/4 of the story. So like that's why it felt so jarring that they just kind of like stopped it
Just
and then like you
stopped.
said like kind of just threw in a little tidbit at the end and
They
I think it
might
was
have
just
gotten like backlash if we didn't
I
catch
mean
on our end.
yeah, I don't know if that I never saw anything about them making like
No.
any I mean those episodes were so long. I'm
Mm.
like what could you guys have edited out? Like but I genuinely think that it was just like once Jang and Pat got together, the writing and production team was like, "Okay, this is a story now." And that didn't happen until episode 9, 10 that Jang and Pat really
Yeah.
like took off and then like after that it was when Jab and Jane disappeared, so I think it was just they could not
Yeah.
I don't know they couldn't balance the
Yeah.
writing after
Yeah,
that.
because it felt like they were using their story to keep us, I guess,
Engaged in the whole
engaged
long
before Jeng and Pat definitely got together. So then when they
Mm.
did get together, they were like, nah,
Right.
we don't need them
Now
anymore.
people
And just
have
kind of
what they
like threw
want,
them to
yeah.
the side.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
that's so disappointing.
justice for
pretty good
Jab and
show.
Jane, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to
Yeah.
see them work together again, Saint and
Yes.
Vin, which I don't know what just up projects they have coming up, but we need something. We need something.
They're a fun pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm throwing it right back. For my fourth. Not like how you guys are thinking.
Throw it back. Throw it back,
just
Heather.
realized how that would come across. Not the time or place, or the fact that I could do that. But this is a throwback. Quite a while ago, when I first watched this series, I was obsessed, like so obsessed with this couple, that I ended up like, I probably would have, I don't know, if I could have gotten to Thailand, I would have been a fan site. Like I was so obsessed with this couple that I just consumed everything of theirs. I was always like watching every episode to yeah, so I was like every single week that like the episode would air, I was just watching for them. I I liked all the other couples, but I was watching for them. And that's Min Kit from Two Moons 2 specifically.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was obsessed with them. Oh my God. Jung and
It's on my
Nine.
honorable
too.
mention.
Jung and Nine.
Jung and
J9.
Nine.
I was such a J9 stanny.
loved- Oh my god, same. And like I still love Nine to this day, and I love Jung as well. But like Nine was it for me, and like I followed him through his
Idol era.
Chuang era in China, and like I followed him through all of like everything, and like when they were a boy band, like the whatever they were called, I can't remember what they were called, but like I was kind of following for that, even though like that was not the first one. But like I was obsessed with Minkit, and I loved Jung and Nine as people, as actors, as BL pairing. I loved them. but I loved Mingkit and the grumpy older guy
Mm-hmm.
and the like kind of like a puppy-ish
Mm-hmm.
younger guy trying to get with, like, he's the
Pursuing him.
sunshine, he's the grumpy, but like it's not sunshine protector, it's like fuck off, leave me alone. But you're actually kind of sweet and you're kind of cute, but leave me alone. And this like cute little puppy guy that's following this one being like, it's like puppy and cat, like black cat and puppy, like that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the vibe it was. And like I was
Mhm.
so obsessed with them, so
Same.
obsessed with them, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Mm.
Yeah,
God, you just
that like
opened
they
like the gate in my memory
Oh
for
my
like
yeah.
I
god.
had like so many photos of Jung and Nine saved
Yes.
on my phone at one point. Oh my god.
Same.
Yeah. No, their
Same.
characters were very well written and they fit perfectly to it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was obsessed too. I have it on the list on below 5.
No,
Mhm.
they're like solid 4 for me because I just remember that era of my life, and because this is also before I was like really involved in a BL fandom, BL community. So
Mm.
I was on my own little island, Australia, the little continent, little island, like suffering and enjoying myself by myself. Like I was like, it was like both
Mhm.
suffering and
Mhm.
enjoyment at the same time because I was so obsessed with them. Holy crap. And I couldn't
Mhm.
scream about it to anyone. Or I didn't even scream about it online. I was just like
In your
stewing.
head.
I was in my
In your
head, in
head,
my
Screaming
yeah.
in your
feelings.
brain.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. But like
Yeah.
I just
Oh, that's a
remember
good
how
one.
Wow.
strongly
Mhm.
I felt about them.
Wow.
And I still to this day, like if I watch Two Moons 2, like if I do a rewatch, I am literally watching for them.
God, yeah. I remember I watched the scene of like their first kiss, like when they like so many times. I made gifs of that on Tumblr, like that. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Oh my gosh. I was gonna say when I in recent years cleared out everything on my Tumblr, there was so much min kit. There
Yeah.
was so much. Oh, that's crazy. That really just unlocked a whole
Yeah.
memory, a whole period of my
Core
life.
memory.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for my third, I actually have History 3 Trapped.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
I don't know what it is. I I don't know why. I love those two characters. And well, maybe we know why. Like I have like a trend on this list.
It's like they're
But
they're a little
It's
bit
very
similar to your fourth.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's higher on the list because Trap was iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like with Trap, I like the main couple too. That's not it. Like,
Mm.
but there is something about the sassiness of Jack that just, and the naivety of Xiao. Is that how you say it?
How's it spelled?
Zhao.
Sal.
Sao.
Xiao.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the naivety and just like everything. I was so obsessed watching that. Like I remember the first time like I was watching through every scene they were together in and they were like chipping at each other. I
Yeah.
would like when the scene was over, I would just like rewind watch it one more time.
We've all been
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No,
they
and
were
it also
they were
it's one of
fun.
those couples and characters that really give me like a lot of inspiration to write myself.
Mm.
Like the
Mm.
dynamic of everything, it's just like it gives me ideas to what I want to like get on paper myself. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's another one where
Mm.
it was pretty evenly split between main and second, but a lot of people like the
Yeah.
second couple I would say had a slight edge over being the fan favorite maybe.
Yeah.
But it was like a pretty even. Like I know a lot of people who
Yeah.
also like the main couple just as the main
Yeah.
couple. I think this is a show where people really just enjoyed both of them.
yeah.
But
There
I
was
remember
so well balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm. I didn't mean to cut you off, Alexa. Sorry, you were saying.
Oh, I was
Remember?
just gonna say, I remember seeing so many people loved Jack and Zhao when it was airing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go with a semi-similar theme because ever since we watched this show collectively, I've not been able to stop thinking about them. And it's Tantai and T from Laws of Attraction.
Yeah.
I physically have not been able to stop thinking about them. It's another one of those things where I wish we got more of them. I really, really wish that we got more of them. But I feel like it goes without saying. I mean, like, it's the bodyguard trope. And it's like characters who are severely traumatized. So, like, my two favorite things while Heather dies.
I'm so sorry. I just breathed weirdly, and then my throat decided that it was not going to let me have to do that. I'm just going to quickly grab a drink.
It's just a lot of struggling today.
Sorry.
It's always a struggle when
I'm
we
so
record,
sorry.
honestly.
Okay.
Anyway, Tantai and T. I mean, we talked so much, I feel, about them when we did our review, which everyone should go and watch, our Laws of Attraction review. But I just want to reiterate that yes, it'll be
Do a little card.
That's
I never understand the mirrored thing.
Yeah.
But they kind of give me like they're a little Bonnie and Clyde coded. Except they're not like bad people, although you could argue that like that archetype isn't bad. But anyway, I feel like it's just like they were given no choice but to live this life that they're in and temporarily be on the run. Like that aspect of it to me just kind of gives Bonnie and Clyde. And I like that. The like we're in this together, us against the world type thing. I really, really vibe with that. And it's like the desperation and the violence that they face, especially Tantai. I feel like a good, for lack of a better word, a good contrast to all of those like happy little moments that they have whenever they're away together. And I'm just literally obsessed with them. It sucks because there's really like no content about them coming out anymore. But I love them and I wish they had more screen time and I would love some kind of special episode. But no, they just have to live on in my memory. And I did the same thing as Pixie where I would watch their scenes and then rewind and watch it again. Because there just wasn't enough. But yeah, I really like them. And of course, bodyguard. Always bodyguard trope.
No, that's a really good one. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I definitely, we talked about it in the review of how much I love them and their story. Just like, you tried to fight it for so long because like you didn't know if they were good people, but then like the traumatic backstory came to light and you're like, oh god, I need
like, oh,
to
poor
protect
Meow
both of
Meow.
them so badly. That was a good one.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. My next one also kind of falls into the forbidden nature, will they, won't they. I have Dome and V from You're My Sky. Which, if you don't remember, I guess in this show they were basically the fourth pairing, but it was the runners, and the one was basically his sister's boyfriend, and they were training together, and in that some feelings developed that they you know, eventually enacted on. But yeah, I don't know what it is about that like forbidden, like someone already has a significant other that they should not be like, I guess that speaks to me in second couples. But yeah, like they just had so much tension. There's this one scene in episode 4 that I have replayed. I just posted about it on Twitter recently, where they're like sitting on a bench together and like they keep like picking their hands up and putting them back down, and each time their hands get a little bit closer until their pinkies, and then like eventually their hands kind of overlap. And it's just like, this is very early in the show, but like this like very like tension filled small moment of them like acknowledging that they're both feeling whatever is going on for each other. And they did try and fight it for most of the show, and they had a pretty like open ending at the end, I would say. Um, but God, they were just like, I was obsessed with them, and like the way there were, I just keep coming back to the word tension, but their scenes just had so
Yeah.
much build up in them. Like every time they were on screen together, like it was electric. And Chris and Porsche, I believe those are the two.
Yep.
Chris and Porsche, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're just so good as like both of them, like like just stepping into those roles completely. And we kind of talked about that a little bit in our interview with them, Throwback Thursday, about like playing this kind of like another card in the corner. But like playing this kind of like forbidden romance and like how you get into that, and like they did such a good job. And like I just like Troy on our server, if you're in our server, is always the person who's advocating justice for Dome V, because like once again, we're coming back to, they deserved a special episode or a spin-off or something.
Yes.
And I am firmly in that boat. I love them so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten about them, but now that you say it, I remember when watching the series, like how much their story drew me in, and how hard I was rooting for them to have a happy ending. Like, even though I couldn't see how they could have a happy ending in the time frame of that series.
It was very much like it was not right person, wrong time.
Yes, that's
Bad
it.
decisions.
The right person, wrong
Like,
time, and the angst and the yearning, struggle, angst from that. Oh, that hit me right here. And like, I love that.
Yeah, the angst got angsty. Like,
Mhm.
and the girlfriend slash sister being played by Apple, I was like, Queen, you don't deserve this, but I'm rooting for them nonetheless. Apple, come to me. Like, come on, girl. Like, we can, and they can have each other.
I'll make
but
you
like,
happy. Let the boys make themselves happy. I'll make
you don't need
happy.
them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. There's just like so much that comes in, like a third person being involved in the relationship, period. But like when that person is someone's sibling, like it just like the angst level and like the forbiddenness of it just goes up like 100%. So yeah.
Definitely. We've already done my third, because my third was Ram King. So I can either throw in my honorable mentions now, or we can just keep going with our circle.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want.
You want to
We'll
throw
just
in?
keep going.
Okay,
We'll just
keep going.
Keep
Keep
going.
going. Okay. So my second one, this might come as a surprise, because I'll explain. So I've put Oxygen as my number 2.
Oh yeah.
Callum,
The bunny. Wait,
Who?
bunny? The bunny? Yeah,
Really?
the bunny.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Bunny
yeah,
couple.
Bunny
Yeah.
boyfriend.
Yeah. You know why? Because I
Love the bunny boyfriend.
loved these two. Like, I was,
Me too. I liked them.
they
too.
were in my heart, and the people who made this just ripped my heart out. Like, they just stabbed me. Like, they genuinely stabbed me by doing that end and never coming out with a second season like Nitrogen.
It's very
Yeah.
much the Ram King
Yeah.
treatment. Like the second season was announced and then just
It
At
never
least
happened.
with Ram King, we had some sort of like thing going at the end there, but with these two, there's literally nothing.
Yeah.
They deserve
Yeah.
better. They deserve so much better. I am traumatized.
Traumatized by Oxygen. I'm traumatized by it, but for different reasons.
Well, Oxygen traumatized me in many other ways too. Let's be fair.
But they gave us that banger of an OST.
oh my god, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
no,
that
Super
is
Nut
true.
gave us
That
that,
is
not
true.
them. Not them.
Credit
True.
Supernet.
Yeah.
No, so that's like just because of that that they didn't continue it and they teased it, and it's just because of that, it's the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
That unlocked another memory for me. That's so funny. That's so funny. My next one is super random too, and like probably unexpected. But I had Tucson and Poor from my school president.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
um, and like I know that I believe they only alluded to them being together in my
Mhm.
school president, and then it wasn't until Our Sky 2 where it was confirmed and they
Mhm.
had
Yeah.
a lot more scenes together. But honestly, dare I say, perfect couple? Like
They
this, I think this has to. Well, I'll get into that. I think that this one for me is influenced a lot by the fact that I love Mark and Ford and them as an
Mm.
acting pair, and I want to see more of them as an acting pair, and I think it's a crime. I
Mhm.
think it's a crime that there's not more of them right now. Maybe soon, because then we have part 2
Yeah,
of
GMMTV Part 2 is coming
GMMTV's
up.
showcase.
Mhm.
I'm rooting for Mark and Ford, I think.
Mark could be
Um,
paired with like 5 different people at that showcase, and he
I
probably
know,
will be
I
paired
know.
with 5 different
I
people.
hope. He needs to be booked and busy as like a lead, at least multiple leads.
Oh
Like,
my gosh,
that boy is
imagine.
so talented.
They can be the leads in their own show.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm also, this is one of those instances where I just think they look good together aesthetically. Like it's kind of a shallow thing. That's how I felt about Omen and Fluke. Is that I'm just like, oh, they look good together. Um, and I think both of them are really talented, but um I kind of gravitated towards them more as a second couple, even though they weren't really, and it wasn't outright stated. Um, I don't know if I liked them more, but at least in Our Sky 2, I did.
Yeah.
And that's definitely because we got to see more of them, even though they were switched as each other in
Yeah.
Our Sky 2. We still like saw that, oh, they were actually together this whole time secretly. And I don't know, I like the like secret romance type thing that they have going on. That's another trope that I like.
Yeah.
Same.
And I just think they're cute, and they really just like emulated those high school romance vibes in the same way that Gemini and Fourth did.
Mhm.
And it's another one of those things where I don't think the show would have been the same without them as characters and without them like interacting in the way that they did. So I know it's super random, but and kind of like my own nepotism. But I did really like Tucson and Poor for my school president.
Yeah, that was one. I can't remember like if my school president finished filming like before the show was airing, if they were still filming while the show was airing, but I feel like at least like with Our Sky 2 giving us the like 100% confirmation, that came solely because of the fan feedback of Tucson and Poor.
100%.
Like Mark and Ford popped off as a pairing during like people were so into them and the potential of Tucson and Poor, and I feel like if it had not been for the fan reaction, I don't know if like
For
GMMTV
my
or the
reaction.
production, Kayla specifically,
Leading the
influenced it.
charge.
You guys owe it to me.
Like I don't know if they would have like even gone full out on them even in Our Sky 2. But yeah, they were really good. They were definitely a fan favorite, I would say. I feel like
Oh, and what I was gonna say earlier,
mm,
is that I kind of feel like, oh my gosh, where did I have that? I kind of feel like Tucson and Poor are like the teenage versions of Mai and Jade. Like they
oh,
have like, they have a very similar vibe, but like the teenage version. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I
Okay.
was gonna say earlier. But I didn't
Yeah.
want to give anything away.
yeah, I can
That's
see
it.
that. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was thinking of my school president and I thought of Sound and Win. Oh, oh,
Mm.
kitty
His
in the
head is
background.
resting on the box.
So cute.
Sorry, I just saw that.
Um,
I want to cry. Sorry.
Love when kitties are cute.
Anyway, I like
Yeah.
when cats rest their heads on stuff, it
Mhm.
makes my heart melt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soft soul.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
No, you're okay. We can always break for kitties. But yeah, I was thinking like when I was thinking of my list and I was looking at my school president, like I only thought of Sound and Win and like I was very like neutral on Sound and Win and my school president. Like, you know, I very much prefer Tin and Gun, but then you said Tucson and Porn. I was like, yeah, like if they would have been like the full secondary couple in my school president, like that would have been amazing. But they did have some good tidbits in the R Sky too. So
Yeah.
yeah. My number two also kind of comes from nepotism just because I really like the actors a lot. And this is also my instance that I mentioned earlier where I eventually was only going through to watch their cuts from scenes from the show on YouTube. Jang and Poke from Hidden Agenda, only because it was all in Boom.
Ah,
Like
Mhm.
that's
right.
the only reason.
That's so
Like
on brand for you.
yeah, I'm very much like I've been in my own boom era, but especially now that We Are is airing, like it's up tenfold.
Yeah.
Um, but like in that show specifically, first of all, they had like the established couple dynamic, and I do really enjoy when we get to see established couples in BL because that's not often something we get to see because like most of the time BL is about the pairing getting together. So like when we get like the second couple dynamic or a dynamic where there is an established couple, I always really enjoy seeing them navigate that. And yeah, like I vaguely remember the like general storyline of Hidden Agenda, but like I would say after like episode 6, I stopped watching the show as a whole and just started like scrubbing through for their scenes on YouTube. I'm so sorry, Jung and Dunk, like you guys are lovely, but after a certain point I just like I didn't have the time to like watch the full episodes and I wasn't invested enough in the main couple to like sit there and watch the full 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was scrubbing through for their scenes and I just like yeah, it's fully mainly because I just really enjoy All and Boom and I really enjoy watching anything where we get to see them as an established pairing and they had a little bit more screen time in this than they did in vice versa in their other projects. So, yeah, that's yeah, that's all. I just love them. All and Boom world
Mm.
domination. That's my agenda. It's my agenda right
Fingers
now.
crossed, part 2, GMMTV. Give us
Please.
a lead.
I need it. I will fund it. I don't know how, but I will fund it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's all.
Okay. So my second couple, ooh, yep, is a couple that I didn't love more than the leads. Like they were the equal footing, equal love type of thing. But they became like a basically they basically made the show as two leads for me opposed to a lead and a second couple. Like they were just so integral to the series and had me in as much of a chokehold as the main couple. And that's all right. That's Sunbo Zhang and Lu Zigang from Make Our Days Count. I've definitely butchered their names,
I
but
agree.
Sunbo and Luzi or Zigang.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the shop owner. I can't remember exactly. It was like frozen yogurt or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And then the friend of the kid, like the high, well, they weren't
The
kids, they were
student?
high schoolers, the
Yeah.
students. Yeah. But he was 18
Yeah,
and
I agree.
the guy was a lot older, but he was 18. Anyway, and I really loved their dynamic. I loved the fact that Sambo chased him and that he was like, no, like you haven't had enough life experience yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to experience life before you pursue a relationship with me. I'm an old man. He was like in his 30s. He's not old, but like he's definitely older than 18.
Yeah.
I'm an old man. Like I'm I've experienced life. I've had relationships. You haven't.
Mhm.
Like I'm battered. I'm not worthy of love. Like you need to go and enjoy your life and figure your stuff out. And somebody's like, I am a fully grown human being. I know what I want and I
Mhm.
want you. And I was like, oh, Like that just got me. And then like their progression of their relationship and the fact that he helped Shigang connect back with his family because his family had kicked him out when he came out when he was with this other person, and that relationship didn't end up working, but he lost his family because of it, and they weren't able to reconnect, and Sambo helped him reconnect with his family, and that was more important to him, was to actually help him connect with his family and support him and help him see his self-worth and that he is worthy of love. And I would just they just had me as obsessed as I was with the mains. Like I also just fucking love that series. I'm also very glad that they didn't get like a tragic ending. Because they very well could have in this bloody show. But yeah, they're just magic. Like that whole series, both couples are magic, but they were just I don't know, there was just something about them, even though there was a massive age gap. I well, I shouldn't say even though I have clearly shown that I do enjoy an age gap at times.
Same.
As long as people are of age is when I really enjoy it. Like, well, 100%. Yep. Anyway,
Yeah,
moving
and I
on.
think
But
needs to be like a sort of accountability to like it needs to be addressed that they're
yeah,
of different ages. Yeah.
yeah, and that did happen in this, and like there was a very much a they had a will they won't they, even though Sambo was pursuing real bloody hard, they still had a bit of a will they won't they had the angst, they had the resolution, they were very very spicy. That was fun. Like it was, yeah,
Yeah,
it was a whole
that
thing,
that
and I just
bathroom scene is like the most erotic thing
goes
ever.
over
Like
fucking 2 episodes.
who like I was gonna say who cares about Playboy, dude? That scene was like the most erotic thing.
Yes,
No one
it
can
was.
beat that.
Oh my god, and like
Up
yeah,
against the mirror. Dude.
and then I really loved that Sunbow was like he was he was basically like this himbo. He was so silly and I don't want to say stupid because he wasn't stupid at times, but he was
No.
just so unaware of things.
He was
like
naive.
that he was showing this like naivety, yeah.
Yeah.
But then when it came, like when push came to shove, he showed up and he was thoughtful and he was sweet and kind and invested in the relationship that he wanted moving forward, and he listened, and like, oh, I love him. I love him so much. And so I really loved that. They were like, yeah, definitely second couple syndrome-esque with them, because they basically, well, not even, they literally, to me, they're basically the same as the leads. They are like, they, both those couples were that story, was Make Our Days Count.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, my number one, to no surprise, is
I bet it's the same as mine.
Win Team and Until We Meet Again.
Pixie hadn't said Win Team
Yeah,
yet.
of course they're
Oh
my
God,
number
totally
one.
didn't- Yeah.
Of course they are. I've like
Oh, okay.
I've always been like so obsessed with the dynamics of Win Team, and I think like you were saying that we didn't know enough, but I also think for me it was all about like they had so much tension and chemistry that it just, even if you were sort of getting closure of their story, it wasn't enough. You needed more. And I think that's where, like, because I didn't really enjoy Between Us as the episodes went on, because it was missing the initial, like, it felt purposefully missing tension and chemistry. Like they were purposefully removing it from the story, and that was the, like, it's the core of the couple. It's the core of the trope. So and it's the reason why I was so obsessed with them in Until We Meet Again. And I don't know, like I could watch their clips from Until We Meet Again like endlessly. I will never get sick. I just love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they also had like in Until We Meet Again, we kind of talked about like having that balance between the two pairings, and I think they offered that good balance in Until We Meet Again, because Dean and Palm were the more sweeter. There's a lot of emotional like baggage going on there, where Win and Team were bringing that tension, and there was so much happening off screen that we weren't getting, but like every time they came back, like they were on like a different level. And so I feel like it was like a good contrast from like when stuff was getting really heavy on the Dean Parm front, like you kind of switch over and get like a different dynamic. So it kind of offered a balance in Until We Meet Again, that there wasn't necessarily that same like breakup in between us. There was no
And
balance
honestly,
or nothing
like
to
the
counter them.
commercials that they did,
The
with
Lay's
chips.
ads. Yeah.
Iconic.
Yes.
I
Iconic.
remember
Actually
they were
iconic.
so viral. Like no matter who you preferred in the show, everyone was
The Lay's
posting
ads.
the Lay's
Dude,
one and then the broccoli
Lay's got
one.
what they
The
paid
broccoli,
for.
oh
Like
my God.
seriously.
It was iconic.
Yeah.
It was history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember everyone was disappointed when Lay's wasn't a sponsor for Between Us.
For the Between
and they
Us,
went with like a different chip brand or something. And you're like, hello.
Yeah, it was some generic, same color but generic. Yeah.
No. Didn't feel right. Didn't
Not
feel
it.
right.
Not
No,
it.
same.
No.
As to be expected. Team. Okay, this is definitely my number one. Jeff and Alon from Pit Babe. Jeff and Alon from Pit Babe.
That's a good one.
Number one. Like this was.
I thought you were stopping there. Sorry. Like I'd be like,
I might
done.
as well.
That's all.
Don't
No
even say
notes.
anything. Done.
I mean, the fact that Pit Babe is, I think it's probably gonna be my favorite show of this year. Like I don't need anything else to air. It's my favorite show. I'm still
Really in April.
I'm still in my Pit Babe era, and I have to say that edits, they're dwindling down, and that's very upsetting to me. Like everybody keep making edits of Pit Babe. But that's beside the point. Okay, so I feel like with the other ones, I kind of like loved the second couple, or at least one of their characters instantly. But like with Jeff and Alana, it was not instant for me. Like I feel like I was mid-show and all of a sudden it crept up on me and I was like the most invested in them. Like even over Charlie and Babe, I was invested in them. And I don't know if I like them more than anyone else either. I think I prefer their dynamic. Especially because when like Babe and Charlie were together, there was a time period of like calmness, like nothing was really going on. So for a while they were just being in love, and it just wasn't giving the same amount of drama. I really needed the drama in that moment. So I think that's whenever a switch went off for me and I was like, Jeff and Alon. And I love how Jeff starts off as like this angsty, really distant character, and Alon is literally the only person who can break through to him, and can kind of like get his walls down. And Alon is like a character that I would already gravitate towards because he's very much like a leader and kind of a caretaker to like everybody in the garage. And yeah, I just really like that character archetype, and I think it's so funny that everyone calls him Uncle. Because I still am going to argue this.
He was like 30 years old.
I would argue this literally every week when I would watch it on my Patreon. He's not old.
He's not.
But I will say that he definitely gives Uncle energy, and there's something very endearing about that.
Yeah.
Something very endearing. I love his Uncle energy. I just honestly love both of them, and I love them together. And I always think about the episode where they go roller skating because I love roller skating, and I literally, like, every scene that they had, I would just like screech and wail. Like it was peak like the fangirl behavior, and I don't always act that way, but they had me in a chokehold, and they still do. There's just something about them that I can't like particularly explain, and I don't even really know why I ended up liking them. But here we are, and Jeff and Alan forever.
I remember the switch of like in watching your reactions because like I'm subscribed to Kayla's Patreon. Another card, Kayla's Patreon in the card. Um, but I remember like the switch in your reactions when you're like, oh, these two are kind of hitting a little bit, and then like after that, it just kind of like the avalanche just kind of like, oh, but like 100% Alan as like the goofy doesn't know how to flirt but is so hopelessly in love, like older one in the relationship.
That's
Like
cute.
it like
So
he
funny.
the sincerity of it, of him just being like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I want to date this person and I need to figure out how to do it. The way he would stress out about like trying to figure out how to flirt with him, like it was just, that's definitely where the uncle energy came from. And it was just,
Mm-hmm.
I really loved watching them like in the second half of the series. I do agree that I feel like they kind of, I love
God.
Charlie and Babe down, but they kind of like Alan and Jeff, like because that's when their story was happening. Like in the second half, I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is hitting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's so many moments like that. Like, whenever Alan makes the sign and goes to the cafe to apologize to Jeff, and he's holding it.
So
He's like,
goofy.
and like he was talking to North and Sonic about if he should do that, and they were like, "You're such an uncle. Like that's so corny. Why would you do that?" But he did it anyway,
And it worked.
and
It
they're so
worked.
cute. It worked. It definitely did.
Jeff was into the goofy uncle flirting. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a good one. Okay, my number one, um, honestly, this is easily like the strongest case of second lead syndrome I've ever had, and like in my years of watching BL, and honestly probably just in like Asian media in general. Um, Sun and Mork from Dark Blue Kiss. I
Ah.
the way I
Yeah.
rode for that pairing in the show, God, they're
Same.
like I don't even know what to say. Like it's another one where I could just like no notes. Like that's all I had to say. Like that, something about them just hit for me so hard. And I think Gawain and Pod had such a good chemistry that like after that show was never to be heard from again. Um
No.
and you know, we go back into like the whole Gawain cow tongue, like the whole square of everyone that has like acted in the show with each other.
Hexagon now.
Yeah, but like of that square, Gawain and Pod, like them as Sun and
Oof.
Mork, and like the dynamic of like Mork being like the bad boy, kind of like, and Gawain playing that character, and he was like trying to work at the cafe to kind of like, I wouldn't say get himself together, but kind of like that dynamic of like him learning to channel his anger differently and wanting to be a better person because he wanted Sun's attention, and he wanted Sun to like, I don't know if accept him's the right word, but like he wanted to be a better person for Sun essentially, and like seeing that growth that he went through, and in him kind of coming, him being more into acceptance of his feelings for Sun and what that meant. It was just such a gratifying story for me. Like I loved every single moment of their scenes together. Another one where I've gone back and watched a bunch of them a million times. And I love that like even after like they hooked up for the first time, um has eventually like Sun fucked up and had to get back in Mork's good graces, and that led to like their first like real like hookup. And even after that, Mork was like, we might have hooked up, but we're not dating yet. Like you still have to work for my forgiveness and work to be
Mm.
my boyfriend. And so like even them having that moment of after like they finally like gave in to all of the building tension, there still being more that they had to work through before they were actually dating. Yeah, I just, they, it's been 5 years at this point, and I have never come across a couple in BL that has given me second couple syndrome more than those two. Like, I could not have cared less about the leads in that show. Although there are some scenes that I really liked from them, which
Yeah.
I talked about in our romantic scenes episode from the leads. But Sun and Mork will always be the best part, the main part of Dark Blue Kiss for me. Like,
Mm.
oh God, I love them so
Agreed.
much.
They're the couple that I think of when I think of Dark Blue Kiss.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Same.
I'm so sorry, but sorry, my alarm's
Good
going off.
morning. Time for Heather to wake up.
Um, well, yeah, this would normally be my usual time that I wake up, not 2 hours before this. Yeah, they are the couple that I think of when I think of Dark Blue Kiss, and like when I was watching Dark Blue Kiss, I was rooting for them so hard, and I was hoping that they would get their own series. Like I was
Yeah,
hoping so
same.
hard, whether it's this couple, like this couple characters, or if it was
Pod
or
and Gawain.
Gawain and
Yeah.
Pot. Like I was rooting so hard, and I was so upset that nothing came from it. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It was strong. Like, the chemistry was strong. The second lead syndrome was wrong. Second couple syndrome was strong. Like,
the
they
acting
just
was
gave
top
so
tier.
much.
Like,
Oh, they were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Gawain, that was when I fell for Gawain as an actor. Like, when he was
Yeah.
playing Mork in that show, I was like, oh, this is an actor. Like, I will be
Yeah.
keeping my eye on him. And then he
Yeah.
wasn't really in too much, at
Just
least in the
appeared for
BL
a
sphere
while,
after
like,
that.
yeah,
And then he just
yeah.
like popped back on the scene. Of course, he was always releasing OSTs, which his OST for Dark Blue Kiss is one of my all-time favorite BL OSTs as well. So like,
Yeah.
just Gawain in that show, amazing, but Gawain and Pod as Sun and Mork, even more amazing. Like, it's just
Yeah.
so good.
100%. Okay. I'm very surprised that no one has said this. Like, I'm actually legitimately surprised that no one has put this, my top second couple, syndrome couple. Like, I'm so surprised. So, my number one is Fighter and Tudor from YRU because they are
Oh,
technically a second
They
couple.
were technically the second
They are
couple.
technically a second couple that then became the mains of that series.
Yeah,
Because
Wait,
that's
who's
right.
who's the
That's
main
right.
couple and why are you?
Saifa and Zahn, is
Zahn.
that their names?
Are they
Yeah.
the main? No.
Yes.
They were
Yeah,
They are
technically
the
the
main.
main
The
couple.
story is Zon and him thinking that he is in like this like BL world, like that he's
Yeah.
somehow the story that his sister writes has come true. That is
Mhm.
literally the plot of YRU.
Oh my
But
god.
That's
Fighter
true.
and Tudor, being the second couple, literally became the mains
Dude,
because of all of the
I
issues.
didn't even think about
the way that it was written.
because they are the
Because-
mains. They are like the show.
Yeah,
right.
They are technically the second couple,
yeah.
and they are legit my top second couple syndrome. Like I loved them over Sci-Fi and Zon. They were cute, but like Fighter and Tudor, my ride or dies. Like Saint and Z, I was so obsessed with them to the like more of a level than my obsession with Ming Kit. Like I was all in. I still fucking love Saint. I will die for that man. I love Z. I will die for that man. I am like, that's like, yeah. That's a lot. But like I just can't believe that they haven't ended up on your lists. Like I'm legit
Dude, I didn't
shocked.
even consider
It
them
didn't dawn
as
on
a
me.
second
Yeah.
couple.
They are technically the second couple, and they are like, they are the show. They are the
Yeah.
show. They literally are
By
the show. I don't
default,
have
but
anything
also
else to
it was
add.
for the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like their story was, I don't know, just so much more interesting. Their acting was more interesting.
Chemistry.
Their chemistry was more interesting. Just yeah, I was like watching so much behind the scenes just to see more of the pairing, more of the acting. Like they are a couple. So yeah, Saint and Z as Tudor and Fighter, like just had me hooked. And I know that they literally became the leads basically of this show, even though technically second couple, but like they are second couple syndrome to me, 100%. Like, no notes, no further notes, no further explanation
No,
needed.
that's a good one.
They are like,
It's a very good one.
They are it for me.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
No additions.
All right.
You said everything right.
Yeah. No notes, 10-10.
10-10.
Do we want to do a quick round robin of honorable mentions?
Yeah.
I should.
I'll do mines quickly. I have Together on there, Man and Type.
Forgot about them.
And I have Kim Porsche. Jeff.
Which one from Kim Porsche?
And I kind of also liked what were their characters' names again? Bible and Build's characters. Like, I know there's a lot of
Vegas
controversy
and
on
Vegas.
that story, but I kind of liked it because it had something different. Like, it wasn't the generic, typical trope. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
I could go into like a really long list, but I'm not. So
Fair.
I only have one honorable mention, and it's one of those ones where I feel like I liked this second couple as much as I liked the main one. But Dan and Yoke from Not Me. I think I liked both couples equally.
Yeah.
They were both
That's a
like
good
very
one.
interesting and had like the dynamics were there was a lot to discuss within them.
Yeah.
I think after Cowtongue and First like started their after the
Couple
clips,
work.
I
Yeah.
sort of forgot that he was in Not Me.
Right?
Oh no.
I love his character in that show
It
though. I
was
want him to
yeah,
play
yeah,
another
I
character
agree.
like that.
It was
Yeah.
amazing when I was watching Not Me. I loved it, but I sort of forgot after. Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, I had actually 4, so I'm just gonna go through them very quickly. I had Ray and Ajian from About Youth. Yeah.
Sorry. That
Oh, you're
that's
okay.
all I'm gonna say.
Seng Tian and Lampom from La Pluie, which is one I kind of like as much as the main couple, but towards the end kind of started preferring them more. Heart and Li Ming from Moonlight Chicken.
Oh, how did I forget them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
my
slight
God.
preference, but like I loved Wen and
No,
Jim, but
I
like
prefer
Heart and Li
them.
Ming. Yeah. Which is another one where like I feel like they were kind of even, like the screen, it was kind of like an even more than a second and main couple, but yeah, that's why I put them on honorable mentions. And then the third one, I just wanted to give them a shout out because I think they were such a well done second couple and I love them just as much as the leads. Eun Pung and Mai from I Feel You Linger in the Air. Sapphic secondary couples for the win, honestly. So yeah, it's my 4.
Yeah. Say
Oh, that was
building off
one.
of
That was a good
Sapphic
one.
second couples, Inkpa, Bad Buddy.
Yep.
They're on my
Yep, yep, yep.
list. I love them as much as I loved the main couple, but like, just something about those Sapphic second couples. And then my other 2 are what I was saying before, the series that aren't BL, but then like either became super popular as like a BL pairing or they actually got themselves a series. So Mark and Owen from Love is Science.
That's as soon as you said that, I was like, I know who it's gonna be. Yeah.
Ooh, and then Pick and Roam from Puppy Honey / Secret Senior Secret Love.
Oh my God,
I
what throwback!
Loved
Oh.
them so much. Like when I watched that series, I wasn't expecting, like I went into the series not expecting that couple to kind of become a thing. And then as I watched, because it was Puppy Honey and Puppy Honey 2, which the second one had more of them. And I was like, I'm obsessed. Who are these people? What is going on? Oh my God.
I
And
only
that made me
watched
feel
Gun
like
were
a
born.
BL.
cut on
Yep.
YouTube because I could not
Same.
take the whole thing.
Fair. Fair. But yeah, they're my honorable mentions because like I thought they technically don't fit on the list because they're either not a BL or I don't know. didn't feel like the sapphic second couples were fitting on there. I feel like they're like a different list. They're my sapphic secondary couple list.
Mm-hmm.
Their own
Type of
separate
thing.
entity.
Their own separate entity. But yeah.
Good
Those were
lists.
mine.
Nice.
All right. So that's it for our episode of second couple syndrome lists. Please let us know who your second couple syndrome couples are. If any of them were the same as our lists, or if you've got others that we didn't even think about, we completely forgot about, please leave them in the comments, or just add us on social or anything like that. Like we always love to talk. We always love to see everyone's thoughts and opinions. And I also am kind of curious if anyone had similar lists to us, or if they have like completely separate lists. Like I'd love to see what people have.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what is our, oh crap, what's the rest?
The plug, like, subscribe. You gotta plug the stuff.
Thank you, I always forget. If you liked this episode, please like, subscribe, comment. If you're listening on the audio only platforms, please pop over and leave us a review. All of that really helps us out. The reviews, the likes, the comments, share with your friends, share with your BL friends. Join our discussion. We love to always hear everyone's thoughts and opinions, and then all of the sharing really helps us out as well. So we can get out further and, I don't know, expand our Lovecast community. It sounds kind of creepy, but I swear to God, it's in a loving way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So I clearly should not be doing outros. But on that note, we love you all, and please join us next time. And I will promise I won't do an outro for another 4 weeks. Cool. We love you all. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
I was in my Heather era because it's Omegaverse.
Yeah, I got that from the breed me part.